Hi there guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about self-love, why self-love is important, why self-love is so difficult, and most importantly, how to actually cultivate it. So if you want to find out more, stay tuned and let's hop into the rest of the video. Hi there guys, welcome back once again. My name is Greta. For those of you who are new here, on this channel I talk about spirituality, personal growth, holistic living, and so much more. And I also have a blog named greta.com, so you can find literally almost every single video content on my blog and written as well, so you might want to check that out if you prefer to read blog posts instead of watching videos, if that's easier for you. But today we are talking about self-love, as I already mentioned, and I wanted to specifically make a video for about self-love for beginners, because I know how difficult it can sometimes be to embark on this journey. And self-love is a big topic nowadays. Everyone and their dog, their cat talks about self-love. Some people think that it's overrated, some people think that it's underrated. There are so many different opinions. However, I do know that it is sometimes so difficult to prioritize your own feelings, and you might want to always put others first. And it's very difficult to acknowledge your own wants and needs, and this is exactly why I wanted to make this video, to kind of discuss what self-love is, discuss the complexity of self-love, why you might want to practice self-love, and how you can actually cultivate self-love. So first of all, let's talk about what self-love actually is. And for every single person, I think it's going to mean a little bit of a different thing, but in my personal opinion, self-love to me means acknowledging your own needs, acknowledging your own feelings, creating healthy boundaries between you and other people, being selfish, but not in a narcissistic way. It's having compassion for yourself, forgiving yourself of past mistakes. And I see self-love as love, basically, and love knows no boundaries. So when you love yourself, when you practice self-love, that love within you, it just grows and it spreads. And self-love to me basically means loving yourself, loving other people, loving all living organisms, and loving life itself and the experience that we have on this earth.
Yes! This is fantastic!
Now, before we go any further, I do want to address the complexity of self-love, because I read so many different articles, and I see that people have so many different opinions when it comes to self-love. As already mentioned, some people think that it's overrated, some people think that it's underrated. Some people say that you have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else. Some people believe that self-love has nothing to do, has no connection with the love that we feel for other people. And I'm not here to tell you what you're supposed to believe in. I just wanted to address the fact that self-love is a complex topic, and self-love doesn't mean that you won't have your bad days. Some days you will feel like crap, and it's fine. It's life. It happens. So you will have your bad days. Sometimes self-love will be more difficult than the other days. Sometimes it's going to be impossible to cultivate that self-love. At the same time, I do want to emphasize again that self-love is not about being narcissistic. It's not about being ignorant and just basically having a total disregard when it comes to other people's needs and how your actions affect other people. There are going to be times when you have to sacrifice yourself, you have to sacrifice your time, you have to put other people first, and that is also a part of self-love. Self-love is the ability to balance between loving other people and loving yourself. I do view love as multi-layered. That's why I believe that self-love can be a little bit of a complicated topic because we have so many views and opinions. But I do think that self-love and love for other people, these both expressions of love are intertwined. It's basically one and the same. It's just love, pure, unconditional love. In order to love others, you have to love yourself and vice versa. I also want to kind of talk a little bit about why self-love is so difficult, and I guess it really depends on your upbringing as well. I do believe that for somebody who has grown up in a loving environment where they felt like a priority themselves, it's going to be way more, it's going to be easier for that person to do the same for themselves once they step into adulthood. Now, for many of us, we have been conditioned to associate self-love with being arrogant, selfish, narcissistic, cocky. However, when you think about it, in the most simple way, without diving too deep, in the most simple way, somebody who is loving and compassionate towards other people is seen as good, right?
No, what are you talking about?
So why do we put self-love on the opposite side of the spectrum? It's the same thing. It's loving a human being, and in this case, it's yourself. And for many of us, once we step into adulthood, of course, we need to relearn a few things if we do want to cultivate self-love. And it's way easier when you're a child and you're basically a clean slate, a clean piece of paper. It's way easier to instill these views, and it's easier to just build something on, let's say, a clean foundation. Now, for an adult, you may have to relearn a few things here and there and kind of break your mind, but it's more than possible, I promise you. Now, before we start talking about how to start cultivating self-love, I do want to address the question of why self-love is so important, because I feel like, especially for somebody who's just starting to embark on this journey, understanding why self-love is actually so important is gonna bring a little bit more clarity and I guess motivation when it comes to actually working on self-love. So I'm gonna give you 3 reasons that, in my personal opinion, are the 3 kind of major ones. You can create subcategories, you can create more categories. There are so many other reasons, but I think that these 3 are the main ones. Now, the first one is the inner balance. And this is where we get a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more emotional, I guess. Just the way you give love to others, you need to learn how to give that love to yourself, how to accept that love from others, how to receive love. And usually in Reiki, whenever you're doing a body scan, you can feel it. You can feel that a person who gives way more than they receive is gonna manifest as an imbalance on their left side. So basically, left side is basically your receiving side, and right side is your giving side. So in Reiki, the inability to receive is going to manifest as an imbalance on the left side. Now, it is also closely related to your chakras. If you don't know what chakras are, they're basically just simply energy points, energy vortexes within your subtle body, and they govern different body parts, different areas of your life, different glands. And I'm gonna leave a link somewhere on top of this video, somewhere in whichever corner, and you can check out what chakras are. I have a chakras for beginners guide, so to speak, so you can find out a little bit more. But our inability to love ourselves, our inability to stand up for ourselves is going to manifest as an imbalance in one of our chakras or even more than one of our chakras.
That's not good. You should really see a doctor.
Depending on the background of the situation. So basically, it's important for your inner balance. Everything in life, it has to have balance.
Some pins.
No shit, that's interesting.
Now, the second reason why I think self-love is important, it's important because we need to start cultivating love and understanding for others. Now, I already mentioned that I do see self-love and love for others as intertwined. One cannot survive without the other. And please remember, we're not talking about narcissistic or selfish love. Now, you may think to yourself, I struggle to love myself, I struggle with cultivating self-love, but I do love others unconditionally. I love others from the bottom of my heart. And it's true, there are so many amazing people around the world that are that have trouble, issues cultivating that love for themselves and being on the receiving side, but they just give and give and give and give, and they love others so deeply. However, I again want you to see love as limitless and boundless, and so many magical things can happen once you fall in love with yourself. Once you truly acknowledge your own magic, you will see how your relationships change. You will start understanding people in situations that you didn't understand before. You will become a better partner, you will become a better friend, you will become a better child to your parents. You will become better in so many different ways. And we do love people unconditionally, even though sometimes we struggle with loving ourselves. We do have kids, we do have partners, we do have family members that we take care of when that care is needed. And I just want to kind of emphasize on the fact how much better those relationships can be once you start loving yourself and appreciating yourself, and once you start being able to receive that love from others, and just keep that balance. Just be a little selfish from time to time, and this actually creates healthier relationships as well, because when you love yourself, when you respect yourself enough, your presence, it demands respect from others, and it creates very healthy boundaries. So as already mentioned, you just simply become a better citizen of the world, let's say. And the third reason why self-love is important, it's important for your manifesting abilities and having healthy relationships. So when we think about law of attraction, we attract what we are, right? So people who have trouble with receiving and they have trouble with cultivating self-love, their receiving side is going to be blocked. Now, if your receiving side is blocked, if your left side is not balanced, anything that you're trying to manifest, it's not going to find its way to you because you're just simply blocked out. You don't feel like you deserve the love, you don't feel like you are worthy enough. So in order for us to be amazing at manifesting all that we desire, we need to understand that we're worthy of those things. Okay?
Okay.
We are worthy of receiving. And the same thing, as already mentioned, happens with your relationships. You attract different people into your life. When you respect yourself, when you love yourself, you demand the same, your presence demands the same from other people, and other people can actually, not can, but they actually honor you because that is the presence that you have around yourself. Now finally, we get into the topic of how can we start cultivating self-love, and I'm gonna share tips and tricks, things that you can do within your own journey, during your own journey, things that helped me in my own journey. So I hope that you enjoy these tips, and I hope you get some new ideas from this video. So first of all, a massive point that I want to make is learning to say no. It's so important. You don't have to say yes to everything, and I know my personality, it was so difficult for me in the past to say no to people. I sometimes would say yes even though I didn't feel like saying yes, and it's so important to start acknowledging your own needs, your own wants, your own desires. If you don't feel like doing something, don't do it. Of course, again, I'm emphasizing the fact that we're not talking about narcissistic and ultra selfish love when you don't acknowledge other people's needs, but understand that you can be selfish in some situations. You can say no. And this is simply a muscle that you need to train, and you need to start using it. And once you start using it, the more you use it, the easier it's going to get.
I'm saying no, Charlie.
Now, second thing that you must do is carving out some time for yourself and yourself only. And I know that for some people it's easier to do. For many of us who have children, who have certain responsibilities, maybe we're taking care of another family member, we're gonna have a very limited time for ourselves. However, I beg you, whatever you can do, even if it's 5 minutes of meditation, if it's booking a yoga or a workout class that you must show up to, do whatever you can to show up for yourself and only for yourself. Have that moment for yourself that is selfish and that is only about you. You have to do it. Whichever way you do it is better than nothing. And you cannot start comparing your let's say self-love time with other people's, because we all have different situations, we'll live in different situations, and whatever you can do for yourself, start with that, and then it's just gonna get easier day by day. Now, the third tip that I want to share, and I've shared this before on my channel and on my blog, is the loving mirror exercise. Now, I have incorporated this into my morning routine, and this has helped me so much when it comes to my self-image, my self-esteem, my confidence. I do think that it had that it kind of was a helping hand when it comes to healing my skin, because I did suffer from hormonal acne, from cystic acne in the past, and in the past year or so my skin has been better than ever before, and I do think that this exercise has a lot to do with it. Now, basically what you do is, and this can be as long or as short as you like it to be, what you do is just you stand or sit in front of a mirror and you just admire yourself. You admire yourself as a human being, you admire your features, you admire your flaws. You can do this naked or clothed, whatever you feel comfortable with. There are no rules or things that you cannot do when it comes to this exercise. Whatever you feel like doing, do it. I even talk to myself, I give myself some encouraging words, and even if you would say something like, "You got this," to yourself in the mirror, that's already a start. Start doing it, try it at least. It's gonna feel a little bit maybe awkward for those of you who have never done something, for those of you who haven't ever done anything similar, but I do think that this exercise has immense power, and it helps with your confidence and self-esteem a lot. Now, I cannot not talk about Reiki and chakra healing. Reiki and chakra healing are amazing tools that you can use to basically balance out your energy, to remove any blockages that you may have within your subtle body. Now again, I do have a Chakras for Beginners guide on my blog and on my YouTube channel. I will leave the link to my YouTube video somewhere here, and I will leave the links down below as well to my blog posts. Now, when it comes to chakra healing, you can literally remove a lot of blockages and just start working with your emotional and spiritual body, and just make sure that whatever problems you're having with, let's say, maybe your self-esteem, with your sensuality, sexuality, the way you view yourself, the way you speak to others, the way you speak to yourself, you can really help yourself by working on your chakras.
How interesting.
And in Reiki healing, we do work with chakras a lot. So you might want to read about Reiki, about self-Reiki, how you can do Reiki on yourself, or you can book a session with a Reiki master. And it's an amazing tool to just clear out any imbalances within your subtle body. And those imbalances, as already mentioned, they manifest within our physical plane as well. So if you're happy and healthy when it comes to your spiritual body, your physical body is going to be happy and healthy as well. Now, of course, another tip, it's not even a tip, but an encouragement that I want to make is to honor your body. Your body is a temple. It sounds cliche, but your body is a temple. Do exercise, whatever it may be. If you like walking, or even if you don't like it, but just choose some type of movement that you don't hate. So even if it's just walking for half an hour or whatever it may be, show up for yourself and start showing up for yourself. And the same thing comes to foods as well. When we talk about foods, the less processed something is, the more value it's going to bring to you. So make sure that you eat a lot of whole foods. Make sure that you choose your foods wisely. It's okay to eat crap from time to time, but make sure that mostly you're putting nutritious foods into your body. And I do believe that when we eat our energy, basically. So foods do have, let's say, spiritual energy around them. So choose your foods wisely. If you do choose to consume animal products, please be mindful of where they come from and be grateful for your food, especially if it is an animal. Now, another advice that I want to emphasize massively is stop comparing yourself to others. Easier said than done, I know, but I really try to practice what I preach, and I've spoken about comparing yourself to other people so many times. It's kind of like my motto in life, but understand that you are on your own journey. We do come from very different circumstances. We all will have our own wins, our own losses, and there's nothing wrong with admiring other people and getting inspired by other people. However, you do have to feel that fine line between admiring and comparing yourself to others. Do whatever you can to stop that, because it's kind of like an automated thing that we do. We see somebody who is more successful than us, or we see somebody who's less successful than us, and we immediately, start comparing our situation to theirs. But just understand that your journey, what is happening with my pronunciation today? Just understand that your own journey is your goal. Focus on yourself. Understand that your uniqueness is your power, and there's no point in trying to fit in. There's no point in trying to become somebody else or, comparing, oh, I don't know, they're so much more successful in business than I am. Well, they might not have something that you have. You don't ever know what's going on in anyone else's life, only they're the ones to know it. So just stop comparing yourself to others. And I have a video about it, I have a blog post about it, so if you want to check that out as well. I actually have two blog posts. One is about comparing yourself to others, and one is about claiming your divine uniqueness back, so I will link both of them below. And now the last advice that I have, this is going to be sort of something that people talk about a lot, but as this is a video for beginners, self-love for beginners, I do want to mention it, and it's social media. Please do limit the time that you spend on social media.
No email, no social media.
Be mindful of what you consume. If you, even if you think that you don't spend that much time on social media, just kind of see what are the times that you are on it. Are you bored on the bus and you catch yourself mindlessly scrolling through Instagram feed? Do you take your phone to bed before you go to sleep, and then you go to sleep with these like negative emotions? Be mindful. I'm actually on a social media cleanse myself at the moment. I haven't deleted my apps. I still chat with my friends on those apps, but I don't check them. I don't scroll through them. I don't really use them in that type of way. And it's amazing. Social media has ruined a lot of people's self-esteem. It has ruined confidence for so many people, and we need to kind of come back to ourselves. So if you do need to do a social media cleanse, that's completely fine. If you feel like it's not for you, do whatever you can to limit your time on social media, because it is such an unhealthy thing to be on it. Be extremely cautious of what type of content you consume. Check what type of people you're following, and just make sure that it is more inspiring and less, daunting. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I hope that I've inspired you to change things up a bit. I hope that I've inspired you to start cultivating self-love, and I hope to see you in my next video. And I hope that even if you are an advanced self-lover, I do hope that you found some maybe new and interesting ideas within this video. Thank you so much for being here with me today again. I'll see you soon.